This is John Maddox from Creating Music and Sound, and today we're talking about microtonal sound design and a Roland D-50. Microtonal sound design and a Roland D-50? What the heck is that about? Well, it's true. One of the features of this classical digital synthesizer from the late 80s was the fact you could actually take an octave and stretch it or shrink it on the keyboard. And I've got this idea of having a tension cue based on basically a percussive synth pulse, but I want that tone to waver in pitch, because by itself, repeating it, it's okay, but I'd like it to be a lot more unsettling and waver in pitch a little bit. And you can get approximate it with a pitch wheel. But you're kind of locked into the pitch wheel. And especially if you want certain tones to ring out, and then the next tone ring out with a slightly different pitch, the pitch wheel isn't going to do it. So we could do it by programming the D-50 sound by using this stretching of the octave. So I'm using Patch Bass by a company called Coffee Shop, which makes editor librarians for all kinds of old classic synths, including the D-50. Now, it's especially great for the D-50 because, as you can see, there's not a lot of knobs and faders like the synthesizers before it. Being a digital synthesizer, a lot of it is buried in menus, and you can get to parameters and switch things, but it's not a very real-time sort of synthesizer to play with. It's more about building unique sounds, and using the editor librarian here is way easier than going through and navigating through menus. So on key follow here, if we set it to 1, that basically means it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so an octave is an octave, right? So they give you these divisions here, and being a drummer, I think of these immediately as odd time signatures, right? 7/8, 7/8, 3/4, 5/8. Okay, maybe not 1/2, but basically 7/8 means within an octave, it's actually going to be 7/8 of an octave. So if you go C to C, it's not quite an octave. That's not quite an octave either, but the idea being you can stretch and shrink the octave as you perform it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go down to 1/8. So 1/8 of an octave is going to be stretched out over an octave, which sounds like this, going up half steps. So just between A and D here, it's very close to the original pitch, but you can hear it is way more unsettling than just hitting the same note over and over, right? And it's better than the pitch bend. So this is a really cool technique, just to create tension stuff. You won't be using this in any pop songs, although if you do, I'd be interested in hearing it. So I did a sequence between those notes of A and D, basically playing them randomly into Logic. Sounds like this. So it's giving that effect, right? There's the main note, but there's these little variations, slight little microtonal variations in there that's just making it really unsettling. And that is difficult to do in normal patch settings. I've done similar things like this in Contact with scripting, and that'll be for another video. But for now, we're going to use this cool old D-50 playing real analog digital sounds. Now, if I play the sequence and mess with the tuning, I'm just going to give you an idea of what it sounds like. So if we go back to a 1-to-1 ratio, Well, it doesn't sound half bad, actually. But you can see, and you can, now the octaves are being stretched further and further out. Now if I put it on the 2-to-1 ratio, it's going to be that... Whoa. Here we go. Oh. Here we go. So now it's Star Trek land. Okay, so that's a little bit of how you can use an old cool synth like this in a modern studio setting. And definitely check out Patch Bass by Coffee Shop if you've got old analog synths, because they support a lot of Alesis, Yamaha, Korg, Nord. They cover a lot, so check them out for sure. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next videos.